Well, good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to Threes In. Bobo here. So, after I tanked my T-37 mid-phase check on 27 July 1970, I imagine I had a day or two to think about it. I can't quite remember, and that part of the grade sheet is cut off, so I'm just going to have to recapture this sequence of events from memory. Typically, when you fail the check ride, you received two what they called 87 rides, non-graded rides, review rides. And then they put you up for another check ride, which was called an initial progress check, which was an 88 ride for the grade book. Always had to keep the grade book in mind. It was incessantly hungry. At any rate, if you flunked that ride, then they give you another two 87 rides, review rides, and you went up for a 89 ride, which was a final progress check, and you didn't want to go up on one of those if you didn't have to. So anyway, I tanked this mid-phase check, and they give me two review rides, and I was really upset about it. I was upset. And God works in mysterious ways. I had the best instructor pilot I could have ever asked for. Young fellow named Russ Sweets, first lieutenant. He was a plowback. If he would have lived, he would have been a fate. But unfortunately, right after we graduated from pilot training, Russ passed away from a melanoma. God bless him. At any rate, so Russ comes in that day of my first 87 ride, and I was, as you can imagine, I was kind of nervous about it. And Russ pulls out two grade sheets, and he says, "All right, you're going to pass these two rides. There's no doubt about it. You've already passed it. I've flown with you enough." And he said, "We're just going to go out, we're going to fly the jet, and we're going to have fun." So he said, "We're not going to even worry about grades." He said, "I don't even want you to think about grades." He says, "I just want you to go out and we'll have some fun." So we walked out to the airplane. I was a little apprehensive. We got in and took off and flew out to the area. And he said, "Oh my God." He said, "I got the jet, Bobby." And I looked at him. I thought there was something wrong with the jet. I said, "What are we doing?" He says, "There's a Chinese communist cloud sneaking around down there. We need to nail its butt." So he rolled in on this thing and kicked the rudder as we're going downhill and pulled up and rolled over the top of it. He says, "Okay, now we got to get back to work and stop having so much fun." That's kind of the way it went. And he really had a way of putting me at ease. So then went up on the second review ride, and it went fine. I could feel my confidence building again. And then it came time for the check ride. And I wish I had those two or three rides that got dropped off my grade sheet, because the check pilot was the check section jerk, probably best to say. Every check section has one. I don't know what it is or why it is, but every check section just had to have one guy designated as the jerk. Okay, I can't tell you this guy's name, but one of my classmates came up to me and said, "Okay, he's going to give you a situation where you're going to have to recover. And what he's going to do, he's going to be flying along, acting innocent like, and he's feeding in full left or full right aileron trim. So when he hands it to you, when you take the stick, it's going to be out of trim significantly. It's going to want to roll on you, and that's going to be your EP to recover from." Got it. Boy, I had that from one of my classmates, and I was loaded for bear, if you will. Sure enough, we went up, and we're flying along, and he said, "Okay, why don't you take the airplane for a while?" And I took the airplane, and it started just one of these like that, and I was able to counteract it, get the trim out of it, and slow it up a little bit, and get the trim and maintain aircraft control. And he said, "Okay, that was pretty good." Well, thanks. So then we dropped into Hondo, and at that time, it was a piece of cake. So we dropped into Hondo. I did a single engine touch and go with flaps, this time with flaps. And I did a no flap pattern with both engines, this time with both engines. Okay, got that cleared up, flew back to Randolph, landed, and that was that. I took away several lessons from that experience. One of them is to never take a check ride for granted. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Yeah, you can be over prepared, I suspect, in some cases, but from that day forward, I never went into a check ride unprepared. And I'm happy to sit here and report I never flunked another check ride for the remainder of my 35 or whatever year career it was, because that lesson stuck with me and I didn't like the taste of it. Another lesson that I learned, and this is for you new kids, if you will, it is so important to support your classmates when they're down, when you're going through UPT. And they told us that at the beginning of tweets, that when you see one of your classmates struggling, offer to help him or her out. We didn't have hers, so we just had hims. So offer to help him out. Don't shy away like the guy's caught some exotic disease or something. Walk up and offer to help them out. They may or may not ask for it, but they will be grateful for that help, as I am grateful to that classmate of mine that gave me that heads up on numbnuts putting in full aileron trim. But another reason for doing that is what I learned as an instructor pilot. When I'm teaching somebody something, I'm learning so much more about what it is I'm teaching them than they can ever imagine. So it works to build cohesiveness, and it really puts meaning to take care of your wingman. So I would offer you that to think about when you see somebody struggling. And the corollary is also true. If you're struggling, don't hesitate to ask somebody in the class to give you a hand with something or another. It's flying in the Air Force is a team sport. We say that. It's not something we put on a wall or whatever and ignore. It really is a team sport. And the whole class will become better for it. So I think that's about all I have to say on the tweet ride. And I was going to go like that, which is a U, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so erase that. What I learned from it and what I took away from it. And another thing that just came to mind as I wrap this up. I learned that I need to be ever aware of the fact that I have this propensity to do something or not do something that I should or should not do. So from that time on, I always became super vigilant on knowing, what am I doing? Is that the right thing I want to do? That was my greatest fear from then on, was omitting something that I should be doing or shouldn't be doing or whatever. So that put the fear of God into me also. So it was, overall, as some of you have mentioned in the comments, it was, in retrospect, a great learning experience. And hopefully through mine and sharing it with you, you won't have to go through it. You don't want to go through it, okay? So with that being said, this is Bobo, Base Gear Stop. Good to see everyone.